everyone, and welcome to our second webinar for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. If you missed our first one, you can go back and watch the recording on our website, fightcybercrime.org. Today, we'll be talking about spotting the scammer. We'll walk you through the common tactics that scammers use to gain access to your money and personal information, how you can recognize the red flags, and what you should do if you become a victim of a cybercrime. My name is Kim Casci-Palangio, and I'm the director of the Peer Support Program for Romance Scam Survivors at the Cybercrime Support Network. Today, we have Crystal Thomas, Vice President of Brand and Marketing at Early Warning Zelle with us. Crystal, welcome. Tell us a little bit about your efforts in consumer education and what you hope our viewers will walk away with today.
Great. Thank you so much for having me today. As you mentioned, I lead consumer marketing for Zelle, and one area that my team focuses on is consumer education. We do a lot to educate consumers on digital banking safety, payment safety. It's a key focus area for us. So we educate consumers of all ages through a variety of channels and partnerships, and I can share a couple examples. So partnerships with key industry organizations like the Cybercrime Support Network to provide resources to consumers. We have a financial education center on our website, zellepay.com, which is designed to educate consumers on financial education topics like digital payments and identity protection. We also make these resources available for our financial institution partners that offer Zelle. They can use our resources in their channels to help educate their customers. On the proactive side, we have actually an award-winning safety-focused campaign live right now with Vox Media that's designed to help consumers learn more about common scam tactics and ways to avoid falling for them. And in this series, we have videos, audio segments, social media posts, and interactive quizzes that are really educational, but also created to be entertaining. And then last thing, we're also have partnerships set up with a few prominent social media personalities to raise awareness there through social media channels about potentially suspicious activities, both online and offline. So just a few things we're doing from the consumer education perspective, and I guess to respond to your question around what I would hope viewers walk away with today, I would hope that folks have learned something new and specifically have more knowledge on how to spot scams and also how to avoid them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're so grateful to have you here today. Let's kick things off with common tactics scammers use to defraud consumers. Phishing is fraudulent emails that look like they're coming from a reputable vendor. Remember, when you're trying to decide if an email is real or not, to hover your cursor over the email address and make sure it's coming from the vendor directly and not going to something like buykimacoffee.com. Vishing, which is a fraudulent phone call. It is a phone call that's just like a phishing email, but it's by phone. And it is normally a message might be left on your voicemail, and you want to be really careful not to call back the phone number that's left on your voicemail. Always look up the vendor's phone number for yourself and call and ask if they're trying to contact you. Fake websites that look like a reputable vendor, be sure to look for fishy signs like misspellings in the URL, and robocalls that are automated calls done by a computer that use intimidation or scare tactics to try to get you to pay right away before you have a chance to really think about it. Crystal, a common scam impacting consumers today is the bank imposter scam. Can you tell us a little bit about what this is and how scammers gain access to our financial information?
Yeah, so the gist of the scam is that someone pretending to be a representative from your bank or credit union tells you that there's been a fraudulent transaction on your account and that in order to stop it, you need to send yourself money with Zelle. So it starts with a text message from a scammer that looks like a fraud alert. It looks legit from your bank or credit union. You respond to that text message and engage the scammer. And then you'll receive a call from a number that looks like it's from your bank or credit union. They can make your bank name show up on your caller ID. The scammer then says they're calling from your bank or credit union, offers to stop the alleged fraud by directing you to send yourself money with Zelle. But then in reality, the scammer is tricking you into sending money to their bank account. So you might be thinking, how do they do this? And it's a sophisticated scam. So these scammers set up spoofing technologies through their mobile carriers, which allow their number to show up and look like it's coming from your bank. Then the scammer calls you, pretends to be calling from your bank or credit union, and they tell you that they need a security code to authorize that payment to yourself. Now, that code that they're looking for is the code that you would receive when you enroll with Zelle originally, or if you switch your enrolled US mobile number or email address to a different account. Your bank sends you a code, a security code to verify your identity. So that's the code that scammer is looking for. Because once they have that one time code, they can then link their bank account to your US mobile number or email address. So now when you're sending yourself money, you think you're sending it to your account, but it's going to their bank account. Like I said, it's a really sophisticated scam, and it really preys on emotions and fear, and it gets people to really feel like they urgently need to take action, which is what the scammer is relying on. So, couple quick things that people can do to avoid this scam that I'd love to share here if we have a moment.
Absolutely.
So if you're feeling pressured or there's just a critical sense of urgency to send money or share info over the phone, hang up. Just if you have any questions about whether you should take an action with someone over the phone that you don't know, hang up. You should also never discuss account numbers, PINs, or any other personal information with anyone who contacts you, even if they say they're from your bank or credit union. If someone calls you claiming there's a problem with your account and that they need your account information, again, hang up, call your bank directly, and don't call a number that's in a text, an email, a voicemail. It'll connect you directly to the scammers. So you always just want to look up the number online or review the number that is listed on the back of your debit card or your bank card. So just a few tips to avoid this scam, and like I mentioned, we have quite a few resources on this topic on our website. If folks are interested in more details.
That's great information. Thank you. Another scam that we see is online shopping scams. And we know as we head into the holiday season, scammers will continue to increase their efforts to defraud us. They are consistent in using the tactics that we mentioned previously in order to try to trick us. Here are some things that people may encounter along the way from an online shopping scam. You may find, for example, that the item that was delivered to you is not at all as pictured when you ordered it, or it may never arrive at all. You may receive a fishy email or text message about your order saying that you overpaid and you're due some money back. Remember again to never text back or call back a number that's left to you because you will go directly to the scammer. As Crystal had just mentioned, but always look up the vendor's information for yourself and call and find out if you're really due any money back on that order. Remember to never divulge any personal information or confirm any account numbers. Um, you might encounter websites that look fishy, that looked like the vendor you were looking for, but when you took a closer look and took the time to really look at that URL, there may have been misspellings or things just looked off. You may click on an ad while you're on social media that looks interesting, that looks like a vendor that you might want to buy something from, only in fact to find out that that was a phony ad. So, we want to make sure you know how to recognize these scams quickly, and we're going to walk through those red flags. So, first, make sure to be aware if the email address looks fishy and use that hover over technique that we just talked about whenever possible. Make sure that the website you're on is an HTTPS. That S stands for secure, or it has the lock symbol next to it. Don't enter any credit card or debit card into information into a site that does not contain this. Look for misspelled, misused words, or just bad grammar. So, Crystal, is there anything you see specific to payment apps that you'd like to address here so consumers can be on the lookout?
Yeah, so in addition to the tips that you've already shared, when it comes to person payment apps like Zelle, I'd say just don't send money to people that you don't know and trust. If you don't trust someone enough to actually hand them cash, don't use a payment app to send them money. And one other tip, if something seems like it's too good to be true, like a really good deal online, or if something really seems off to you about a transaction, for example, if someone is asking you to pay them urgently using a specific P2P payment app, don't do it.
Absolutely. I always say we all have a spidey sense. And when that spidey sense goes up and you feel like something's wrong, it's almost always wrong. And so take your time to really pay attention when a red flag pops up for you. But in the unfortunate event that your information is stolen or compromised in any way, here's what you should do immediately to protect yourself. Keep all the documentation from the scam, including your emails, your messages, receipts. If you report anywhere to any law enforcement agency, they may need that information to continue their investigation. Submit a complaint to the seller immediately. If the seller doesn't respond to you, contact a government agency or consumer protection agency in your area, such as your local consumer protection office, your Better Business Bureau, or your state attorney general's office. Report the incident to the website or social media site, a social media platform where the transaction took place. If you provided financial information or bank account information, contact your financial institution immediately. They may need to change your accounts and they may be able to cancel the transaction and help you get your money back. If you paid using gift cards or money transfer, contact the issuer of those cards immediately. They may be able to stop the transaction. If you provided personal information, such as your social security number, you may be at risk for identity theft. Contact the three main credit reporting agencies immediately: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Place a fraud alert or a temporary freeze on your credit reports. That makes it hard for a scammer to open up fraudulent accounts in your name. You can visit our website, fightcybercrime.org, for detailed information and direct links for assistance on all of the things that I just mentioned. Crystal, if anyone encounters this on Zelle, what advice can you give them to remedy the situation?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned this on the list that you just shared, but if you've shared your bank account details or you've encountered some suspicious activity, hang up and contact your bank or credit union directly on the number on the back of your debit card, the number that's in your banking app, or on their official website.
Great, thank you. So, once you've taken immediate action steps and reported the crime to the authorities, we want to make sure you're protected from future scams. Here are the top 5 things you can do today to help protect yourself and your financial information online. Remember to implement multi factor authentication, also known as 2 factor authentication, on all of your accounts, most especially on your banking accounts and your credit card accounts. Update your privacy settings everywhere you can, social media, and including your privacy settings right on your smartphone. Activate automatic updates. This isn't just to give you the latest and greatest on your devices, on your phones, and on your laptops. These automatic updates fill holes that those vendors have found that scammers can infiltrate. So doing your automatic update or doing the update when it is listed is vitally important for your protection. Create strong passphrases, not passwords, but passphrases, several words to make your passphrase nice and strong and never reuse it more than once. Learn the elements of phishing attempts. Don't click on any links that you don't know where they're coming from, and check out the address on the email to make sure that it's coming from the trusted source you think it's coming from. For more information on these 5 steps, visit our website, fightcybercrime.org, and replay week one's webinar, Building a Foundation of Security. In that webinar, we walk you through those 5 steps and we really take a deep dive into them. Crystal, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. The information you shared will help all of us to better safeguard our money from cyber criminals. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience before we end?
No, I don't think so. I just say thank you so much for having me today. And I hope these tips were helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Please mark your calendars for next week's webinar on top scams facing consumers in 2022. We'll have a special focus on that webinar on scams that target our heroes in the military and our veteran community. We hope to see you there. Thank you.